Hi guys, welcome. In this video, I'm pairing two of chess.com's most notorious bots against each other. Isabel from Costa Rica, I believe, and Wally from Scotland. So Isabel had the white pieces, being the 1600 versus an 1800 in Wally. I gave Isabel a slight advantage of having the white pieces. So this is how the game proceeded, guys. To do this, I had to have two tabs open on Google Chrome, like putting in the moves from one bot onto the other tab, and it was very confusing, so leave a like. It took me a while. So, Isabel got a Queen's Gambit position on the board, and then follows it up with all book moves, guys. These bots are trained to know the first few moves. And here, instead of taking and allowing an exchange of queens and allowing the white king to be stuck in the center, Isabel just develops a nice knight. Nice knight, very solid. So, Isabel captures back with a queen. And then queen takes in the center, and we get an early queen trade. And this is where I think Isabel got a little bit feisty and just started giving Wally some talk. What?
This is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Isabel there just giving it a little bit of not dirty talk. What do you call it? You know, sportsmanly, aggravated talk to Wally there. And then here, Isabel proceeds to bang a knight in the center. And then the thing is here, black should just take, and after takes back, white has an isolated pawn in the center. And it's going to be very hard to hold on to this pawn, considering it's surrounded by black's two pawns here. But instead, Wally decides to bring his own rook. And here, I guess Isabel just reinforcing in the center here, rather than taking the pawn. But after this, eventually Isabel does decide to take the pawn, which is bad, again, because of this damaging of the structure. And the rook's going to be very active in that case. After takes, black's winning a pawn. And now the knight is a little bit awkwardly stuck on the edge of the board. I think another reason why that move wasn't the best. And Isabel here comes and hits the rook, also X-ray defending the knight, which is pretty useful. So at this point, Wally felt a bit backed into a corner and decides to give a little speech of his own.
Aye. Fight and you may die. Run and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to
Trade
for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
So after that arousing speech, Wally's pieces here, just as quoted in the speech, they had a little trade down, and after this, the black forces start to really regroup and come after Isabel here. So Isabel centralizing the rook, but the king's still sort of stuck in the center, not allowing the rooks to be connected. Wally also having developmental issues of his own. So now this move, I think, is just too slow. I guess it's trying to get in the way of the check, but after check, he can go there anyway. So yeah, not sure what this move does. And then here, Wally finally allowing the rook into the game, and white comes in with this check, just allowing a trade of the pieces. And then after this little check, Isabel pops out with her king and starts getting a little bit aggressive with the king, arguably a little bit too early. All right, and this move, I didn't realize this was bad. Why is this bad? Just because of takes, and white wins a couple of pawns for the loss of the exchange, I think. Normally, moves like this are quite strong, like generally, if you can lodge a piece there on an outpost square, but in this case, it's actually good to just sack the exchange in order to try and win these pawns here. So here, Isabel fighting to her last breath, with a nice centralized king, to be fair to her. And yeah, that was a bit odd. I expected Wally to take with a pawn and retain the opposition of the kings, but instead takes with a king. I guess it keeps the pawn structure intact, was Wally's thinking. And now here, this is where the game is truly lost. Isabel decides to, for some reason, I think 9 out of 10 humans would just play that instinctively, kick the knight out, and maybe bring a rook and try and push these pawns up the board, because these pawns that's the out for white, that's the win for white. And Isabel just neglects her winning chances there and decides to go for a few pointless little checks here. Black regroups, takes a bit of space on this side, and after a bit of shuffling around, it's clear that this extra piece is gonna do the job for Wally. So a little pin there, but now the rook is hit, and here Isabel just takes 2 pawns for the rook for some reason. Yeah, this is what happened, guys. This is what the bots did. If you put 2 bots together, they come up with all sorts of mischief. And then Wally locks in the structure, not really allowing these pawns to push up together. And then after a few little what do you call it? Rounding up the lost cause pawns from Wally. Wally gets a queen on the board and delivers mate. So that's what happens when you pair off Wally and Isabel. It was a bit chaotic, but Wally the 1800 coming out on top, as he should. We've seen in previous episodes where the lower rated bot has actually outperformed the higher rated bot. So it's interesting to see what happens in these situations. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Cheers.